So I'm going to give you guys a little rundown of my final lesson plan, which is um, I chose to integrate technology into a final plan that I had, or a final project that I had created for a lesson um, for an entire unit that I wrote back last fall. And so the unit was anti-bullying, which fit into a larger unit of belonging. Um, and I chose to take just the final project and really flip the technology into it because originally I had developed this plan, again, here in my setting and students, so like a level 3 Spanish high school classroom. Um, and the reason I chose anti bullying is because it allowed me to combine content with language with also some cultural goals. And so I list some of those, talk about the ACTFL proficiency levels, the national and state standards, the ISTE technology standards for students I wrapped in here, and then specifically outline the content and language goals. So the idea of the final project for this unit would be to follow up of the kids would have been learning about anti-bullying and anti-bullying campaigns throughout the unit, which would include listening to authentic music videos, looking at authentic social media accounts, looking at there are some different governments of Spanish speaking countries that have websites related to anti-bullying because it's a pretty big deal. And the nice thing about this topic is it's something that also affects the students taking the course in English. And so this is a way for them to draw a very real connection between their daily experience and a Spanish speaker their age's daily experience. Um, so I've kind of outlined, but basically the project itself at the end of the unit would be the students would be in groups of maybe 2 to 3 to 4 people on their final project, and they would spend several class periods brainstorming and coming up with ideas. Now, my original lesson plan was to have them create a presentation that they would present to elementary school students in an immersion program to talk about anti-bullying. And I think that plan initially um, was how did he say it in the RTA article, augmented by technology, but the way that I've flipped it now I think makes it really transformed, because instead of doing a presentation, I'm having students develop their own social media campaign, which would be intended for either Facebook or Twitter. The campaign would consist of at least 10 posts, an original hashtag, and an original account in which to post those things. Um, and so the idea would be that they would use different mixed medias for those 10 posts. So they could be vines, helpful advice, memes, um, infographics, which I have some really cool websites and easy websites to make really cool infographics. But then at least 3 of them I would want to be student created videos, which could be PowerPoints, video testimonials, digital story clips. Um, and so those would be the things that the students would make themselves, which I think adds a little bit of meaning and really integrates that technology piece as well. And so then they would post those things as part of the 10 posts that they create for their campaign. Again, encouraged to use the following resources. So I would have given them this technical handout, which I went over, which has testimonials from Spanish speaking students, different campaigns, both English but mostly Spanish, music videos that they could show clips from, and maybe tell a little bit about the fact that, like, Eres Único and Soy Yo are actual Spanish speaking artists who created those music videos in order to encourage kids to not bully. And those are really cool. And I bet a lot of Spanish speakers don't even know that. And so the ability to, post a clip from those YouTube videos and then tell a little bit about the fact that that's why they were created. Some people might not even know that. That would be an example. And so I've got a lot of different resources that I would go through with the students here, and that would give them that way of starting their research. And I think that when they start to type in some of these Spanish hashtags or look at some of these Spanish Twitter handles, they're going to start to realize how young people use the Spanish language in social media, and I think that they'll really engage with that. And then students would be assessed on their use of the language, but also the creativity and the relevance of the posts to the cultural group that it's intended for. So I'm really excited because I think that this unit I spent a lot of time on, and I think it's really cool, and I think students would really enjoy it. But I love the idea of flipping this final project because I've learned a lot about Twitter throughout this class, and I think that students are very engaged with Twitter, and so and Facebook, and so I think that this just brings another very cool element that I think students would really engage with. I also think that after doing it one time with a group of students, I would learn a lot, and I'm sure that students would bring a lot to the table that would teach me how to continually develop the project and the standards for it. So, anyhow, I hope maybe this sparks some ideas for the rest of you. It's something that I'm definitely hope that I get to carry out someday in my real classroom.